Modern historians have not agreed on the time when African nationalism began. Whereas some people believe it began either after the First World War or the Italian invasion of Ethiopia in 1935, others maintain that it began after the Second World War. However, much as the disagreement on the time when it began goes on, there are specific features which are uniform in every part of Africa that characterize modern African nationalism. Firstly, African nationalism is characterized by a strong hatred against colonialism and all its manifestations such as foreign political domination, racial segregation, overtaxation, forced labor, and all sorts of exploitation. This hatred started way back during the 19th century, when the white man set foot on African soil. A number of Africans resisted European colonialism in Africa. Though African armed resistance was crushed, the nationalistic feelings remained alive up to the 20th century. Secondly, African nationalism during the 20th century was under the leadership of educated Africans called elites. Having attended missionary schools and served in the colonial service as clerks, secretaries, and interpreters, they understood better the evils of colonialism. Topics like the French Revolution had opened their minds about the need for liberty, equality, and fraternity. They based on these to criticize the colonial masters. Elites also read the newspapers and listened to radios and interpreted the nationalistic ideas to the rural masses. The speeches and slogans of elites awakened nationalistic consciousness, for example, Nkrumah's slogan "Self-Government Now." Thirdly, it was characterized by sabotage from conservative traditional African chiefs and sultans. These had collaborated with the European colonialists and had benefited a lot from them. For example, Kawakas of Buganda and sultans of both Libya and Zanzibar. When elites started demanding for independence, the conservative African chiefs and sultans saw them as a great danger to their political positions. There was therefore a tendency by conservative leaders to work for the continuity of colonialism until the tide of radical nationalism caught them up. Fourthly, it was characterized by militarism and radicalism. In areas occupied by white settlers such as Kenya, southern Rhodesia, Zimbabwe, Namibia, South Africa, and Algeria, African nationalists became so militant. This was due to the extreme brutality of whites in such countries. This militarism became more widespread after the return of ex-servicemen from the Second World War. These demanded for a speedy end to colonialism. It is closely associated with urbanization. Urban-centered, for example Accra, Lagos, Kampala, were developed by colonialists. A number of Africans flocked to urban centers expecting jobs in industries and better standards of life. It was also characterized by negotiations for independence. Almost all over the African continent, educated Africans began by negotiating with the colonial masters to grant independence to African countries. It was characterized by the formation of mass political parties such as the UGCC and CPP in Gold Coast, Ghana, the UNC, DP and UPC in Uganda, the TANU in Tanganyika. Equally true, African nationalism was characterized by the formation of liberation movements such as the FLN, National Liberation Front, of Algeria, the ANC, African National Congress of South Africa, the MPLA, PAGE, among others. African nationalism was also characterized by secessionist movements, especially between the 1950s and 1970s. It was characterized by a great pride in the African continent and black skin. The strong attachment to the black skin color was due to the discrimination of whites against black, especially in South Africa, Angola, and Zimbabwe. It is characterized by a strong desire for economic independence and economic growth. It was characterized by the arrest and detention of radical African nationalists such as Nelson Mandela of South Africa, Steve Biko of the ANC, who died in prison, Ahmed Ben Bella of Algeria, Ferhat Abbas of Algeria, etc. It is characterized by a strong desire to revive African culture. It is characterized by the desire to form a single political union in Africa. African nationalism is characterized by military coups such as the 1965 coup in Algeria against Ben Bella, the 1966 coup in Ghana against Kwame Nkrumah, the 1952 coup in Egypt, the 1974 coup against Haile Selassie of Ethiopia, among others. It is characterized by ideological differences between Anglophone, English-speaking, and Francophone, French-speaking countries. Also the ideological differences between the Arab North and Negro South. Also between the supporters of the capitalist ideology vis-à-vis the supporters of the socialist, communist ideology. African nationalism is characterized by the rise of dictatorial regimes in post-independence Africa. African nationalism is characterized by the formation of trade unions to agitate for improved conditions of workers.